Hi everybody, welcome back to Discovering Spring. I'm Mr. Tom, and of course this is...
I'm Miss Kristen.
Welcome back. It's a beautiful spring day today. We are starting our second 5 weeks of classes now. Last week we went to the bridge. Miss Kristen dispatched of the big bad troll. He wasn't that bad, was he, actually?
He was okay.
Yeah, and so now we are going to start our second 5 weeks of classes. We're going to talk about insects over that period of time. We're going to go back to our vernal pools with our dip nets and look for, probably we'll find some frogs this time. We're going to talk about spring rain. But today, Miss Kristen, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about spring plants, and today is a perfect day to do just that.
Yeah, and I think we're going to find a lot more than we've been seeing in the past. So I'm excited to go out there and explore.
Absolutely. And we'll get started with our story, and then we'll do our walk, and then our craft, of course. All right, guys, so our story today is Fletcher and the Springtime Blossoms. The woods were full of chirping, bustling, sing-song sounds of spring. Fletcher bounced along with his nose in the air, sniffing the just burst buds of flowers and playing chase with butterflies. With his head spinning with sights and sounds, there's Fletcher. He tumbled happily down the hill into the sunny orchard. But when he picked himself up from the ground, he couldn't believe his eyes. Let's see what he's in shock about. A soft breeze danced through the branches, carrying snowy flakes. Snow so late in spring, thought Fletcher. It will be too cold for the buds and butterflies.
Uh-oh.
There's no time to lose. So, what do we think? Do we think this is snow?
We have had some snow.
Yeah, that is true this spring. Looking for someone to tell, he trotted back up the hill and past a pair of birds cuckooing on a branch. You've flown to your summer home too soon, Fletcher cried. I've been down to the orchard and there's more snow on the way. Then we should fly back south, they called. But first, we must tell Porcupine. He's just come out of his bed of leaves. He needs to snuggle back down or he'll freeze. So there's Fletcher telling the birds. Fletcher and the birds found Porcupine stretching and scratching. There's snow on the way, panted Fletcher. I saw it in the orchard. It will be too cold for the butterflies. The birds will need to fly south, and you must hide away.
Did you know, Miss Kristen, we have porcupines, we believe.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to keep our eye out.
I don't think we'll see them where we're walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably...
Further out.
All right, interesting. Did not know that. Then I should crawl back into my bed, snuffled Porcupine sadly. But first, we must tell Squirrel that he needs to hunt for food. He's eaten his winter store of nuts. He'll need to find some more. Fletcher, the birds, and Porcupine found Squirrel scampering after sunbeams. Snow is blowing from the orchard, gasped Fletcher. It will be too cold for the butterflies. The birds will need to fly south. Poor Porcupine must go back to bed, and you must find some food. You're right, I've eaten my spring feast, said Squirrel, and all my stores are gone. But before I hunt for more, we need to tell the rabbits to munch as much grass as they can before the snow falls. Fletcher, the birds, Porcupine, and Squirrel hurried off again. So now they're gonna go find the rabbits. The rabbits were rolling down the hill next to their burrow. Stop playing, cried Fletcher. There's snow blowing in from the orchard. It will be too cold for the butterflies. The birds will need to fly south. Poor Porcupine must go back to bed. Squirrel needs to find food, and you must munch more grass. Before we eat, said the rabbits, staggering dizzily to their feet. Here are the rabbits. There's Fletcher. Let's go and play in the snow. So the rabbits hoppity roly poly plopped down the hill through the woods. They were chased by squirrel, porcupine, the birds, and a bouncy, full of important fox, all the way to the orchard, where the ground was white with, let's see, blossoms. So not snow, just blossoms. Blossoms bobbing in the branches, blossoms blowing in the breeze, blossoms blanketing the ground, and not a snowflake to be found. Those are blossoms, not snow, you foolish fox, the animals cried. Fletcher blinked and rubbed his eyes, feeling very silly. But then the animals scooped up pawfuls and clawfuls of blossoms from the ground and covered him in a tickly shower of fluttering white petals. Fletcher and his friends ran and played between the trees until at last they all collapsed in a blossomy, soft, white heap. It does look a little bit like snow, but just the blossoms. Then the birds fluttered back to their branch with beakfuls of blossoms to line their nest. Porcupine snuffled off up the slope, his quills dotted with tiny white petals. There they are in his quills. Squirrel went chasing up and down trees after snow-white petals dancing in the breeze. And the rabbits bounced back up the hill with blossoms to brighten their burrow. But Fletcher just lay smiling in his soft bed of petals, watching the blossoming branches bobbing overhead. It's truthfully very beautiful. And that's it. I don't know about you guys, but when I've gone for some walks in my neighborhood, it's true that the blossoms come down and it feels like you are standing getting snowed on, but it's just the blossom. So that's a cute story and relatable.
All right, and so you guys, so now we're just gonna have fun with this class. We're gonna explore, we're gonna find some plants and flowers that are really cool. I see some right here where Miss Kristen was reading.
Oh, yeah.
Just these little pretty flowers right here.
Little yellow flowers. And even this whole area is more green than it was before. Blossoms over there, buds over there.
So what do you say, Miss Kristen? Should we start exploring?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, you guys, here we go on our walk to look for plants and flowers and anything you find cool too.
Absolutely.
So where are we? We're at the rock, Miss Kristen. You want to touch it?
Let's start by feeling this guy. It's cold, but definitely warmer than last week.
Is it?
For sure. Yeah. It's not too cold at all. So definitely when you guys come, feel the rock. Let us know how it feels. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a little cold, I think.
But it's not as cold as the last few weeks, definitely, I don't think. But let us know what you guys think.
It's definitely warmer than the first week.
Yeah, agreed.
So a lot has changed, you guys, since we started our classes. I think Miss Kristen and my hair is a little bit longer than it was in the first class. Definitely Miss Kristen's is longer.
Yeah, it's growing.
Mine is gonna need a haircut like yesterday.
But it's not just Mr. Tom and my hair that's growing. So if you look around us, we see all sorts of things growing, right? Even leaves on the tree behind us. Even this area should look so much more green than it did a few weeks ago, right? And to the left of me, here we have some things growing here.
Garlic mustard.
Garlic mustard.
Yeah, we don't want that actually, but at any rate, yeah, it's getting green. The leaves are getting bigger. We're gonna just take a little walk.
Feels like spring, finally.
Definitely. We're gonna take a walk down Froggy Freeway where we're starting. Then we're gonna go back to where you went week 1 down memory lane. Remember how we had to help Miss Kristen find that egg?
Oh,
How
yeah.
she looked and looked, and we had to
Yeah.
like kind of give her some help. And then we're gonna come back out memory lane, and we're gonna go back on Froggy Freeway. But this time, then we're gonna do a backwards classroom court. So that's our walk today. Look how green
I
everything
know.
is. So Miss Kristen, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Why did all these plants go to sleep in the winter time?
Yeah, so when we walked through here during the winter, it certainly was not green like this, right? And that's because the plants go to sleep, right? It gets very cold in the winter, and the plants don't really love the cold weather, so they actually go to sleep through the winter.
Yeah, so kind of like some of the animals in our story, like the fox hibernates usually in the winter time. Some of our birds just fly south to get away from the cold. The porcupines definitely hibernate in the winter. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank
Thanks.
you. Our plants kind of hibernate, right, Miss
Yeah.
Kristen?
They go to sleep.
So what wakes them up?
Right, so about this time of year, the air starts getting warmer, the sun starts shining, there's spring rain, which we will talk about as well.
Yeah.
And so all of these things put together, the warm air, the sunshine, the rain, all of it kind of starts to wake up the plants, right? It's not cold anymore. They're not afraid any longer.
Yeah, and you definitely, when we started rolling logs, the ground was so cold.
Yeah?
And if you guys come out here in mid to late May and early June for this class, you know, the ground is going to be a lot warmer. And like Miss Kristen said, yeah, it wakes up those plants again.
Yeah?
And those leaves start to grow with the spring rain. And so here I see a lot of ground cover, and you can see, maybe Miss Erin
Oh, yeah.
can come in a little closer. See these pretty little flowers that are starting to grow? This ground cover is called Mayflower, and that's definitely a spring plant and flower here in the woods. We're gonna find a few others too. Yeah, look at how these leaves have grown. We're gonna take a look at one. We'll do an experiment. Miss Kristen, let me know when you see a leaf that you think we could come back and watch grow a little bit over the next few weeks, and we'll see. I love these rocks. How much they grow.
Yeah, how much they grow. But Mr. Tom, I remember week 1 when we walked this same route. I remember these leaves were not here. I mean, this was not so green, right? And now everywhere it's green. So we
Yeah.
can really see spring blossoming in front of us.
Okay, now these are really pretty, Miss Kristen. These are called bluettes.
Oh, yeah.
These little flowers here, these are bluettes. We've got a lot of them.
Beautiful.
You're gonna see a lot of those, I think, over the spring. And they just kind of popped up in the last week.
Oh, yeah. And see, these have some little buds, too.
All right, so look where Miss Kristen's standing, you guys. We talked about this in the fall, and so some of you may remember this. This was like our second to last class, I think. And the question is, why are there no plants growing on this rock? What does this rock need?
Yeah.
What does it not have?
So it doesn't have soil, right? All plants need soil to grow, just like maybe some of you guys are doing gardening at home with your family. You need soil, right? And right here, you can tell it's very rocky. There's not really good soil here. So that's why there are no plants growing right here. It's lacking the soil.
All right, so let's keep going, and definitely look at the size of this. These leaves. They're getting big.
Oh, yeah.
That's a maple leaf
Look at that.
from a maple tree.
And I remember a few weeks ago when we were looking for nests, it was so easy to look up because there weren't many leaves, right? But now if we look up, it's definitely, we're seeing a lot of leaves, so it would not be quite as easy to spot a nest, but it's still doable for sure.
All right, so you remember, you guys, this is about where you found your
Yeah.
egg
On memory lane about
for
here.
week 1. watch our step, and when we come out, we're going to see something pretty cool, and I think you guys will see it too if you follow the same walk that we're taking today.
Yep, and make sure you guys that we're not running along memory lane at all, right? Lots of roots and rocks.
Okay, so we see a lot of the Mayflower plants growing through here. More bluets. They're so pretty. You want to take one. Don't take them all, but you can maybe take one home if you'd like. Okay, so here, I know when we read the story Bob and Otto, we found worms, but we didn't find any caterpillars. But today, I think we're gonna find them. And we're gonna find them, I think, right here.
Whoa.
Miss Erin, you're gonna have to get closer up. They were all up and around here before. Miss Krista, maybe you can show them at a safe distance from Erin some of the leaves that have been munched on.
Yeah.
And what do you see there?
Wow, you guys, a lot of them. See, looks like this one was just kind of like a bite taken out of there. All of these, right? Pretty much almost all of them look like they've been munched on, right? By these caterpillars. So you guys can definitely find this when, oh look, this one's been pretty much completely munched on.
These are black cherry
And they are
trees,
the culprits.
you guys. So they're eating a fruit tree, actually, and I believe that one right behind it, the big gray one, is also a mature black cherry tree. Black cherries are kind of cool because the bark will actually change color as they get older. They'll get darker.
Oh, very cool.
Which is weird. But I hope you guys can see that. Now this morning when I was out here, the caterpillars were out and about, and they were actually on the leaves. So I actually saw them eating. So depending on what time of day you come, you'll probably see more of them, and there'll be more and more of them. And so do you guys remember what happened to Bob after he was done eating all those leaves?
He went into his cocoon, right? And then after his cocoon, so he was there for quite some time, and then after the cocoon, he emerged as what? Butterfly, right?
A butterfly.
A beautiful butterfly.
I think that's one of our students, Miss Kristen.
Oh.
Is that Bennett? Hi, Bennett. You're getting a sneak preview of week 6. We definitely talked about making sure that you stay on the trails because Miss Kristen, what do we find off the trails, especially starting around now?
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy, and I definitely saw some earlier today. Bennett, you can maybe take a look when we're done here. Oh, right here, Miss Erin. There you go. So that is our first crop of poison ivy that I've seen. It's going to start to pop up. And if you look at it, you can see it's 3 leaves, and it's really like shiny, the leaves. And those are the oils that will get on your skin if you touch it. And so you don't want to touch it, right? But it's off the trail. We'll start to pull these as they start to pop up. But you can see them all along here, and it's starting to wrap around that tree. So that's poison ivy.
Alrighty, so you guys, now we are going to take a right down classroom court and walk this way.
All right, so look, you guys, I see more of the mayflowers. They're everywhere now. They're really pretty. Some of them are flowering. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Miss Kristen, in the book, Fletcher got a lot of those animals all worked up because a lot of different animals do different things depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
So in the fall time, what do you think animals are doing, you guys? Maybe Miss Kristen can help you with that.
Yeah. Well, so we talked about in winter how the animals the plants go to sleep, and the animals too, a lot of them are hibernating. So in the fall, right before winter, a lot of the animals are scurrying around and they're trying to get food. We know that squirrels, that's when they eat all their nuts, right? Is right before they go into hibernation. Similarly with foxes. So during the fall, a lot of them are, scurrying around trying to find food. And then when they wake up after their hibernation in the winter, the springtime is a very lively time. So a lot is going on in the spring. So we know in the book they talked about that the birds are flying back, right? Because they fly south for the winter. So in the springtime, the birds are flying back. They're making their nests. What else is going on?
Well, they're feeding their babies.
Yeah, they're
right?
feeding they have to find food for their babies.
Yeah, so in the fall, the animals are preparing for winter, and now they're preparing for just living here, at least until fall.
Yeah.
So they're busy, and we see animals here all the time. So now, here we're gonna kind of go back to our plant discussion, and these are actually kind of popping up a little sooner than I'm used to seeing them. But these, Miss Erin, can you get a picture of this? You guys see how this is starting to unfurl? This is called a fiddlehead. And can anyone guess what they turn into? We've got a lot of them here.
I can guess.
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I think that those unroll or they unravel into one of these guys, which is a fern. Right? So at first they look like that Mr. Tom had pointed to, and then they unroll into a fern.
And when you guys come out here, you'll see them in all different stages. So you'll see them little tiny ones that are just starting to unfurl. Yeah, and maybe by the time actually, you know what? I think, Miss Kristen, these are all little fiddleheads right here.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So you can point out to your mom or dad or whoever here with you that these are baby ferns and those are adult ferns, and show them what you know.
Okay, so it would not be spring in the Northeast woodlands without a really, really cool plant called Trillium. So when you come here, we have at least one that's popped up now, and this probably just came out last week in early May. And it'll probably be here through the end of our classes into mid-June. And I can either point out, and Miss Kristen, do you want to show it to them? Or
sure.
you see it right there?
Yeah.
It's got 3 leaves and 3 flower petals.
Yep, so guys, this is a trillium. So like Mr. Tom just said, there's 3 big leaves.
Look how separate they are from each other, too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell that there are just 3. Like you said, they're quite separate. And then here are the 3 flower petals in the middle. So that's trillium. You guys can keep your eyes out for that also when you come.
Oh, and also right behind is Kristen, Jack in the Pulpit. By the time you guys get here, that will probably have grown and flowered. Picture that. More bluettes just right in the middle of the trail.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and look at the leaves are everywhere now, you guys. We're going to talk about why leaves are kind of nice when it starts to rain in our next week's class, too. All right, so we're just going to take a little peek at our vernal pool before we head back and do our craft.
Oh, there's a little dandelion, bright yellow.
Dandelions are really good for wildlife, for bees. So we like to leave our dandelions just where they are. I'm not going to take too much of a look at this, but I was just curious, Miss Kristen, why do you think that in the springtime the frogs like to come here and lay their eggs?
So both frogs and salamanders, they lay their eggs in the springtime, and that's because they have a lot of time for the eggs to grow before it gets cold, before it becomes winter, right? So they have 3 full seasons of warmth to grow in. So it's quite a strategic time to lay their eggs, if you ask me. Oh, I see lots of tadpoles fluttering.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to look at those next week. So
we'll save that for next week.
We'll be doing that. But you can definitely, anytime you come here, feel free. We'll do more of this in our next class, but look under our cover boards and take a little walk around. It's very muddy on the other side of the vernal pool, but if you have boots on, you can still do that. All right, so Miss Kristen, are you ready for our craft?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Alrighty, so you guys, for our craft today, we are going to make a beautiful little picture here, and we're going to make flowers using these cupcake liners, okay? So we're going to stick to making 3 flowers.
But you could, well, yeah, we'll probably supply you with
Yeah.
3 cupcake liners. We will definitely have some different sizes. We just didn't quite have that lined up for this class today, but we'll give you a couple different
Right.
sizes for that.
Right. But for today, I'm going to make 3 flowers and draw some little stems and decorate the flowers as well. And so we know that flowers need a sun to grow, right? They need sunlight. So I am going to draw a sun up here in the corner. You guys can draw whatever you would like in the background, maybe a sun, some blue sky.
You draw a rainbow too.
A rainbow, that's a great idea. You can make it a rainy day because we know flowers also need rain to grow. Okay, so there's my sun. And it's gonna be a sunny day today for these flowers. And so what I'm going to do next is glue my 3 flowers down on the sheet. You can really glue them wherever you want. They're your flowers. They can grow where you want them to grow. Okay. There's one. We know that no flower looks exactly the same, right? So this one's gonna be a little higher up. This one's grown a little faster.
And you can fold those down too if you'd like. Those cups.
Oh, you mean?
So they're flat.
Yeah. Blooming flower.
Might need to glue them.
All right. So it's up to you. You know, some flowers, right? They're not fully bloomed yet. Some are in their buds. Some, I don't know, Mr. Tom.
That's not working too well. We're gonna supply some small ones. That might work better with the little teeny ones.
All right, so I'm going to decorate these flowers. We have some little dot art here, so I'm going to make some fun dots and
Yeah, and if you don't have the paint dots, they're really great, and they're great for preschoolers. But you can, definitely use some watercolor paints
yeah, crayons, markers, really anything
or
would.
markers for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That's starting to look really pretty.
I know. Some bright spring colors. Okay.
Gentle with that, Miss Kristen.
I know this one wasn't coming out too good. All right, so, this one doesn't have one.
Oops.
Let's see, what
This
are
is
the
live
buttons?
video. We make our mistakes right in front of you.
Yep.
everybody.
That is true.
You guys, you can hear the birds in the background. You could really hear them when Miss Kristen was reading. I don't know if Miss Kristen
I
noticed,
noted. I know that I was trying to speak over them.
but there was a really pretty song. I'm not sure which bird that was, but they were repeating that song over and over.
All right, I think this is good for. So this is what my flowers look like as of now. And as of right now, it looks like they're just floating, right? And we know that most flowers have stems, so I am going to go ahead and draw some nice. Okay. Let's see this green.
There you
There
go.
we go.
That's a tough titmouse in the background. That Judy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so here is
Oh,
Minecraft.
nice.
Yep. And so you guys, like I said, you guys can make it a rainy day, you can make it sun, you can make a blue sky in the background. And like Mr. Tom said, you'll have probably some smaller cupcake liners as well to make some small flowers. So, but this is a really fun craft. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed exploring for plants and flowers with us. So much has changed since we started these
that's
classes.
true.
It's really cool. And so yeah, next week we're gonna find out how these plants, what makes them wake up, right?
That's right.
Spring rain. All right, you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next
Bye,
week.
guys.